I've been arguing with some atheists. I've been talking to some atheists, atheistic people on YouTube. Now I by no stretch of the imagination am a traditional Bible thumping fundamentalist, but I like to challenge what a lot of people um you know think they know, and I have this response here. I wrote this on Google Translate, and it's basically my argument for why the universe, if even if the universe is not conscious, or there is no greater consciousness that brought the universe into existence. This idea that they'll tell you something like this is the type of argument these atheistic minded people will tell you. They'll say something like, well, you don't understand it, therefore, God. And basically, that's what I'm up against. That's what I've been, arguing against as best as I can. And that's really probably one of the most ridiculous arguments ever, because that assumes that anybody who not even believes but understands that there's a higher power in the universe in some way, shape, or form is a science denier. And I'm not a science denier. I've never been a science denier. Um, but anyway, I got the argument right here, and I can dive deep into this. But I got the Google Translate is going to pretty much going to say it for me.
Any being on a higher dimension would be a god relative to us anyway, so it honestly doesn't matter if God created the universe or not. That's simple geometry. If you haven't seen Neil deGrasse Tyson's video, Fourth Dimensional Beings Would Pity Us, go check it out. This isn't pseudoscience. That is a very scientific and inescapable reality, because it's not close-minded of the idea that God could be a highly evolved organism. When I talked about God being everything, or beyond everything, I am talking about God in the Big Bang, since the Big Bang is God even if nothing else is. And I'm not close-minded of the idea that the Big Bang was conscious, but that's not essential to my argument. As for God the being, that can easily be explained also, because the Big Bang created us, even as unconsciously, and as we evolved we became an embodiment of creation itself. Have you ever heard the phrase, a woman can make you or break you? How much more true would that be for someone living in the sixth, seventh, or eighth dimension? Such a being can literally see inside you, and if desired take out one of your internal organs without even cutting you open.
And that's what I'm saying. It's this idea that of God as a reality that always collapses back into itself. And what I mean is that let's imagine first that God did create the universe, and then let's imagine that God didn't. Okay, so God creates the universe. God is the reality beyond our mortal perception of existence itself, which by basic definition would make any material argument against such a claim self-evidently ridiculous to begin with. But basically, God creates the universe. Everything is sort of has a bunch of laws that sort of allow things to manifest into existence. Over a few billions of years, we evolve. Here we are today. And then maybe a couple million years after that, we start to basically become rapidly more and more godlike as time goes by. And eventually, our IQ and our comprehension and everything becomes like that of a god. We begin to create ways to enter into higher dimensions or become higher dimensional beings. Somehow we morph into a higher, existence. And this is what I'm saying. Now this leads me to the idea. Now, what if God didn't create the universe? What if the universe did itself? The first one was like an as above, so below concept. God creates the universe sort of in thinking God creates God, right? So that God can kind of have children, and that's kind of what we are. Now let's imagine that that's not what happens. Let's imagine that the universe wasn't created by God. The universe will still create God, and it's still doing it right now. The fact that anybody has a concept of God in their head proves that, if nothing else, God exists in our heart. God is whatever your highest version is, whatever your highest virtue is, that thing that makes you get up in the morning and start fighting for whatever it is you believe in, that's God, regardless. And that's what I don't understand about, these atheists, these atheistic minded people, these I guess they're sort of like anti-philosophers, really, more so than they even are atheists. Because you're making an argument for a God that possibly exists in the sort of Hindu Christian sense of the word, but isn't even necessarily a material concept. You're arguing for something that's in many ways philosophical, and is a key. It's like a key component of what makes us human, of what makes us that which always wants to improve, become better and better and better. And so, that's what one of the biggest things I don't understand about these people. These people that they constantly attack God and all this kind of stuff. Because I can understand how dogma can kind of get in the way, and I can understand how people can sort of begin to personalize God in some kind of selfish way. But the more we understand morality, and the more that our brains evolve, the more complex we become, the more godlike we become. So my argument is that God created the universe, and even if God did not create the universe ultimately will create God in some way, shape, or form. Whether that is, a higher dimensional being, or some kind of being that has consciousness that is that far exceeds our own. You should look up articles on what it would be like if we had an IQ of 1,000. Because I can tell you right now, if our IQ was above 250, we would already be godlike compared to other people. And a lot of our explanations and stuff would start to cease to make any sense whatsoever. And that's my argument against all these charlatans that act like there is no reality behind this notion of a God. I can tell you, every breath you take, every motivation you have in some way, shape, or form is that higher reality. And it doesn't matter whether the universe created it or whether it existed before the universe, which I think it's fucking both. That is a fundamental part of what makes us, evolved human beings. And I don't understand what the problem is with that type of thinking.